Welcome to Ben's Jazz Kitchen. A name so misleading it might just stick. See, the real jazz, or the improvising, is done in the kitchen well before we prepare these videos. I'm Ben, and I want to talk about one of my favorite recipes that we make in our house, and that is our pepper tofu steaks. Now, there are a ton of these recipes all throughout the internet. Some of them are way more complicated than others. The way that we prepare it in this house is more of, I don't want to cook. My wife doesn't want to cook. What can we make in 10 minutes from opening the package to plating it and eating it? And this is one of those recipes. I know that there's a lot of people that, for whatever reason, are very hesitant to try tofu, whether it's the texture or the flavor or maybe lack of flavor. I think this is one of those recipes that could definitely be a gateway recipe to a more tofu-fulfilled lifestyle. Tofu-filled? I think this recipe is a good gateway towards introducing more tofu into your life. All right, let's get into this recipe. So first off, you're going to need some tofu. I would highly recommend extra firm tofu for this recipe. I think it cooks the best. I think it retains the correct amount of moisture that I like in this recipe. And it just holds together better than some of the lighter tofus, but it's not quite as chewy as the super firm tofu. If for whatever reason you can't find extra firm tofu will work in a pinch. The extra firm tofu that I get comes in a 2-pack, each block weighing 7.75 ounces, but if you can only get one of the larger blocks that usually is around 14 or 15 ounces, that'll work for this recipe too, just cut it in half. Now you need to give your tofu a press because it's loaded with a little bit too much moisture. I use a tofu press, but if you don't have one of those, you can stack something heavy on top and let it sit for just about 5 minutes. We don't want to drain this thing completely. Now while that's happening, let's get our spice mix ready. Now this spice mix is for one 7.75 ounce block, but if you do use the full 14 or 15 ounce block, just double the spice rub. You're going to need a half tablespoon of cracked pepper, a half teaspoon of cracked salt, a half teaspoon of garlic powder, and a half teaspoon of paprika. You can use smoked if that's all you got, but I prefer sweet paprika. Make sure you mix those spices all around. Now when your tofu's done pressing, let's pull it out and cut it in half right down the long side. Pour your spice rub on top and just rub it into every single side of that tofu, getting as much flavor in there as you can. Now let's hop over to our pan and get it heated up to medium-high heat. Add 2 tablespoons of olive oil. Now I'm using a nonstick Hexclad, but if you don't have that, you might need just a little bit more oil so things don't stick. After about a minute, when our olive oil is nice and glistening, let's add our tofu steaks into there. Now I'm going to cook them for about 2.5 to 3 minutes on each side until you get a nice sear, not quite black, but you do want it to be significantly darker in appearance than the sides of the tofu, which are going to still retain some of that white tofu look. So after 2.5 to 3 minutes, give it a flip. That looks pretty good. Now I'm making sure that I'm kind of putting them in those puddles of oil so that they really crisp up the bottom side. So total time from prep to plating while also doing this video is about 12 minutes. Not too bad. All right, let's go give these a taste. Here we are, we've got our tofu pepper steaks, super easy to make, 10-15 minutes tops, and you are ready to go. Let's give them a taste. Still tender on the inside. You taste the pepper, you taste a bit of the salt. Definitely the paprika is like the secret ingredient that really perks these things up. A little bit of garlic there. It's just so good. Now you could spice these up a little bit by adding maybe a little bit of cayenne pepper, or what I like to do is take secret aardvark sauce and put that on there because that is one of my favorite hot sauces. That'll turn it up a notch. With using the proper amount of oil, you get everything to stay intact so you can make those flips crisp both sides. You can see the top and the bottom are seared, and then the middle there is just tender and juicy. And when I press this thing, there's still plenty of juice on the inside, which is some of that water that we didn't squeeze out because we did just a really quick 5-minute press on it. One of my favorite meals that my wife makes, she's really good at it. I can get it about 75% there. She's got like some added touch or something she won't reveal to me. I can't figure it out. Definitely give this a shot if you're unsure about tofu. It's easy for me to understand why a lot of people look at tofu and they'll try it even plain and just wonder why people are eating it. And no, the secret is you've got to cook it right. You've got to sometimes marinate it. There's secrets to freezing it and making it more of a chicken texture. There's a whole host of things you can do with tofu that really just open it up and make it one of my favorite meals, actually. Anyway, thanks for checking out my video. This is super low-cal, super quick to make, and super tasty. I will talk to you guys next time. Bye! Did you want me to save some for you?